Welcome, dear friends, to the 63rd class of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 8, and today we will be finishing chapter 8. And we will first revise the verses, the shlokas that we did in the last class, and that was between shloka numbers 17 and 22. So, what did we study in these shlokas? So, covering between 17 to 19, what did Krishna say to Arjuna? So, Krishna firstly talks about the vastness of cosmic time. And he says that, one day of Brahma, somebody has to understand what is one day of Brahma. And in the explanation, Master tells us that one day of Brahma is equal to 1,000 Mahayugas. Each Mahayuga is made of the 24,000 years of the solar years, which include the 12,000 of the ascending arc and the 12,000 years of the descending arc of the four yugas, which is Kali, Dwapar, Treta, and Satya yugas. So 24,000 years makes one Mahayuga. 1,000 Mahayugas make one day of Brahma. And even more than this, it has been talked about that then 14 of these days of Brahma, if you compile them together, they make what is called one Manvantra. And 71 of these Manvantras together make a Kalpa. So if we see that in Indian mythology, astronomy was so well developed, and the scales of time that have been talked about are even greater than the scales of time that even modern science is touching. So, and in this scale of time, Krishna is basically pointing us to our little life and asking us to see life in that perspective, the relativity of time from the thousands and millions of years versus the 70, 80, 100 years that we live. And we must understand cosmic time, because only then can we have the correct perspective of life. In the earlier chapter, Krishna already pointed out to Arjuna that he can only see the present life. He doesn't know what happened in the past. He doesn't know what is going to happen in the future. So he is only seeing a beginning to an end, from the birth in this physical body to the end of this physical body. But actually, there are so many cycles of time. And the relativity of time can be understood. Actually, there are a couple of stories which are coming to my mind. One is the story of a Brahmin couple who was in the line of Bhrigu Rishi. There was a sage and his wife, and they were childless. So they did a lot of tapasya and prayer to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva appeared to them, and he was happy by their tapasya, and he wanted to give them a boon. So he said, I will give you the boon of a child, but I give you two choices. Either you will have a son who is very smart, who is very wise, and who is a very good boy, who is morally upright, but this boy will live only for 16 years. The other choice is that you have a boy who will live long, but will have a relatively dull mind and will not be so morally upright and will not be such a good boy. So what is your choice? The parents chose a smart boy who would live only for 16 years. So the lady conceived, they had a child who was a boy, and the parents knew the predicament. And they also, in those 16 years, the parents, because they themselves were sages, they made sure that all the knowledge of the Upanishads and all the righteousness was taught to this little boy. And this little boy was naturally a devotee of Lord Shiva and would keep praying to Lord Shiva. In the final year of his life, that is the 16th year, he was told about the predicament that this is how his life is ordained. So he spent the entire last year praying intensely to Lord Shiva, and on the day on which he was supposed to die, he was literally holding to Lord Shiva and praying to him with love. And at that moment came the messengers of Lord Yama, of Lord Death, to take him away. And then he was so much in love, and he was so much intensely, he was clinging to the Shiva Linga, that actually Lord Shiva had to appear and tell the messengers that they cannot take him. Now you may think that karmically, how is this possible? One, Lord Shiva himself has given the boon, and now again he's saying that the messengers of death cannot take him. How is this possible? So then Shiva said that I said that the boy will live for 16 years. But I did not mention that whether there will be 16 solar years or 16 human years, or whether there will be 16 years, the Deva years or the years of the God, or whether there will be days of Brahma, or whether there will be more in time. So pretty much saying that, said that this child will live forever. And that is why out of one of the Chiranjeevis, we know Hanumanji is one Chiranjeevi, means always alive, especially for this kalpa that we are living in. And also as this little child who at 16 years, his name was Markandeya Rishi. And we all know him because he then became the author of the Devi Puran and the Devi Mahatma and the Devi Bhagavatam he wrote. And he is also a Chiranjeevi, and anybody who wants to pray to Markandeya Rishi can approach his consciousness. So this relativity of time is depicted in this story. Another story which depicts the relativity of time and of Maya. So why Maya? Is because Maya is that magic, it's a measurer, it's a magical measurer which it divides the timelessness of absolute existence into zones of time. And here is the story where we've heard it before, but it is the story between Narada and Lord Vishnu. So one day Narada went to Lord Vishnu and he said, I want to know what Maya is. And Lord Vishnu said, okay, let's go for a walk. And it is said that they were going for a walk, and the place was a desert-like place. So now Vishnu ji said to Narada that he wanted to drink some water. So he requested Narada to go and fetch a glass of water for him. So when Narada went out, there was supposedly a village around, and he knocked on the door, and a very beautiful damsel opened the door. And the moment he laid his eyes on her, he was so attracted and he so fell in love with her. And he was such a nice person that somehow the hosts also liked him. Eventually he got married to that lady, and the parents of the girl, they gave everything to the son-in-law and the daughter, the business and everything, the place to live and all of that. And then after they got married, they had 3 children, and they were happily living that life, raising their children and doing their business and having a good married life. And almost 12 years passed like this. And then one day a major flood happened in the village. And when the flood, the family wanted to escape, so the man, the Narada in disguise, he held one child with hand, he kept one child on his shoulder, and he was with the other hand, he was holding on to his wife, who was carrying another child. So they were trying to cross the river. But to make a long story short, what happened in the flood was all the 3 children were swept away, his wife was swept away, and finally he himself was swept away. But when he awoke, he found himself again in the desert next to Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu said to him comically, oh, I sent you to have to get a glass of water for me. What happened, Narada? So this is how it is for a split second, which is in terms of God's time. And here it was 12 long years, which the person had spent and created a family, had raised children and so on. And that is why time is relative. And there was another story that I had related a few classes ago. It was from the stories of the Buddha, that this is about an angel who came. An angel, a couple was living in a heavenly abode, and the wife's karma called her onto earth. So she left her body in the morning there, and she was born on earth. She lived a life of 80 years, and she died on earth and came back to that same heaven. And it was only afternoon in that heaven, and the husband asked, oh, where have you been? So such is the relativity of time. And even the relativity theory itself, the scientific theory of relativity, also explains that how you can perceive time differently. And there's a joke also regarding time, is that there's a devotee who prays to the Lord. He says, oh Lord, all the abundance of the universe belongs to you. It won't matter to you if you give me $1 billion, isn't it? So why can't you please give me $1 billion? So God says, wait a minute. So how long is that minute? Is this a minute of the human 24-hour clock, or is it a minute in eternity? So we have no idea. So the important thing here is, now what do we get out of discussing so much scales of cosmic time or these stories? Is the importance is that actually we are all timeless, and actually the only time we have with us is this present moment. And only in this present moment can we touch the reality that is God. Only in this present moment can, from this mic time, can we go into timelessness. We can go into eternity from this moment. We can go from the ego to the soul existence in this moment. From a limited existence of this personality, we can go to our presence as the infinite existence only in this moment. This is the only moment available to you in all cosmic time. And every no future time will become now when you reach there. So might as well utilize this now. And to escape this limitation that we are in, Maya has imposed this limitation on our true nature. And because of that, we are suffering. The very fact that we can understand that we are in delusion, in hypnosis, and in a limitation is in itself liberating, because then you can, awaken to a liberated state. For most of the humans walking on earth, they do not understand that they are caught up in this kind of a situation. Only when you start seeking the truth and you read scriptures like the Gita, that you understand the scales of time and you see how limited you feel and how trapped you are in a zone of time, and yet our real nature is timelessness. So again, forget all these time scales, come to this moment. This moment right now is the most precious and priceless thing that you have. Do your best now. Think of God now. Call upon God now. Pray now. Meditate now. Love now. Forgive now. Be happy now. Okay. So we proceed from here, and we were on shlokas 17 to 19. So here Krishna goes on to say that when a day of Brahma begins, then multiple beings are projected into the universe. A lot of creation is projected, and they play their games, and they are born and they die according to the lifespan of each individual or each created being. And then they are projected again and again and again. And it is said that unless the souls get liberated, all of them are reprojected even when the next day of Brahma opens. After the night of delusion, after the night of dissolution, when the day begins again, the same beings will be projected again if they have not worked for their liberation. So again, this life we have to work for our liberation. Don't go into an imaginary future. Utilize this very life right now. Now, esoterically speaking, Master has explained this cosmic scale and cosmic time to a microcosmic level within us. And it is important to understand, especially for Kriya Yogis, you have to understand that now we know that the sun moves and it crosses the 12 zodiac signs in 1 year. In 1 earth year, the sun traverses through 12 zodiac signs. Now, what does this mean within our own body? And he said that our own body and the astral universe has a microcosm in us. So the sun is inside the body is the Agya chakra, or the spiritual eye. And we have other chakras, and in all there are 6 chakras till the Agya chakra, and both have a positive and a negative pole, making them 12 in number. And when the energy and consciousness are circulated by the practice of Kriya Yoga around these 12 zodiacs, the inner zodiacs, then this is equal to 1 solar year or 1 earth year in a physical cosmic scale. So what happens in a cosmic scale, as in the earth revolves around the sun in 365 days, the same thing can be done in 30 seconds or up to a minute by a Kriya Yogi by consciously taking his energy and consciousness around the 12 zodiacs of the 6 chakras, and moving like this. And also he says a natural evolution of man is following a 12-year cycle. So every 12 earth years, there is some change in a human's life. An upward evolution happens slowly. And if we follow this pattern of upward evolution, it will take 1 million years, earth years, for any human to evolve to a natural state of evolution and liberation. Now, what a Kriya Yogi does is, because in 30 seconds to a minute, he can traverse 1 solar year. And by doing a certain number of Kriyas on a daily basis, he can traverse time faster. And he can evolve spiritually at a much faster rate as compared to even a naturally good person, because he is using the energy and consciousness to go inside the zodiac, which is in his own astral spine. And therefore, in very quickly, Master says that in 3 years, in 6 years, in 12 years, in 24 years, in 48 years, or in 1 or a few more lifetimes, a Kriya Yogi can achieve the same liberation which is otherwise achieved in 1,000,000 years. Now, the choice is ours. Blessed are we to have a guru who has given us this key to the kingdom of God. But the question is, are we using this key? There are so many people who take Kriya Yoga Diksha, but they are not regularly practicing. I hope you're not one of them. And if you are, it's never too late. As we discussed, now is the moment. Start now, because you can easily hasten your own evolution. And instead of 1,000,000 years of going and coming back, and punarapi janamam, punarapi maranam, means again and again being born and dying over and over again, going through the same miseries, same physical ailments, choose liberation, choose Kriya Yoga, choose work hard for your own liberation. If you are not working for your freedom, who else will? Nobody will. So you are responsible for your own bondage and your own freedom. Choose rightly, work rightly, and use this moment and not in a future imaginary moment in time. Okay. Then Master says in verse number 20, Krishna says, he distinguishes between the lower unmanifest state and the higher unmanifested state. The lower unmanifested is the primordial Prakriti. So when all beings are called back, they are kept in a seed form, in a potentiality. And this primordial nature, without a name and form, this is the lower unmanifest. But beyond this lower unmanifest is the higher unmanifest, which is the spirit and the intelligence itself. And finally, where do we go when we reach liberation? We reach the avyakta, the param avyakta. The primordial nature is called avyakta, means which cannot be manifested in the form of name, form, and function. And the param avyakta is that spirit which is even behind primordial nature. And only when we reach the level of spirit can we be called as liberated beings. And that is the goal. So where is our home eventually? Our home is in spirit. And the beauty is that the individualized spirit is already present within us as the Atman. So to touch that spirit, to touch that goal, all we have to do is turn inwards and realize ourself as soul instead of ego, body, personality. Once we realize our own soul nature, we will understand that the Atma is nothing but the Paramatma. The soul is same as spirit, and this is yoga, the union of soul and spirit, the union of ego into soul, and the union of body, mind, and intellect. So we start from the outer. We start to bring our body and mind together. Then a focused energy and focused attention takes us towards the soul, and soul, being a part of spirit, automatically unites with the spirit. And this is the way we follow, and this is going to be our final goal if we want to be liberated. Then he says that person in 21 shloka, he says that the person who reaches this param avyakta, who reaches the unperishable, is not going to be born again. So again, reiterating that is the goal. And once you reach that goal, you will not be projected again as a limited being. In verse 22, Krishna says, by single-hearted devotion, O Arjuna, that supreme unmanifested is reached. So we know the goal and we know the path. We know what we are to do. Single-hearted devotion means Ananya Bhakti is being talked about. Ananya means it has to be exclusive and undivided attention. Is the Lord worthy of exclusive and undivided attention? Of course. Is there anything in the world which is worthy of exclusive and undivided attention? No, not at all. The choice is clear. If we love the Lord with all our heart, mind, strength, and soul, why? Because He is worthy of all of that love. Because He is the goal of our existence. Because only finding Him will we transcend all the sorrows which we are looking to transcend. Only finding Him we will find the unconditional bliss and the eternal love that we are looking for. Therefore, in this moment, we give Him our heart, we give Him our mind, we give Him our attention, we give Him our energy, and with the sitting inside the vehicle of our body, we go towards God. So this body we know is the chariot, and the soul is the owner. So use the instruments of your body, of your senses, the five horses. Use the reeds, the steeds. Hold on to the mind and be that intellectual, rider that the owner of the soul is proud of. And then finally, you merge back into the infinite. So we now reach to shlokas number 23 onwards. There are 28 shlokas in this chapter, and 23 to 26 have been taken together because, again, it's a complex explaining one after the other again about some cosmic movements and also about some metaphysical esoteric movements. So first in Sanskrit, 23. यत्र काले त्वनावृत्ति मावृत्तिं चैव योगिनः प्रयाता यान्ति तं कालं वक्ष्यामि भरतशर्भ 24 अग्निर्ज्योतिरः शुक्ला षण्मासा उत्तरायणं तत्र प्रयाता गच्छन्ति ब्रह्म ब्रह्म विदो जना. So 23 and 24 in Hindi. हे भरत श्रेष्ठ अर्जुन, अब मैं तुम्हें उस मार्ग के विषय में बताऊंगा मृत्यु के समय जिस पर चलकर योगी जन मुक्ति प्राप्त करते हैं, और उस पथ के विषय में भी जहां पुनर्जन्म होता है. 24 अग्नि, प्रकाश, दिन, शुक्ल पक्ष, उत्तरायण, सूर्य के 6 मास, मृत्यु के समय इस मार्ग पर चलने वाले ब्रह्मवेता ईश्वर को प्राप्त करते हैं. 23 in English. I shall now declare unto thee, O best of the Bharatas, Arjuna, the path traversing which, at the time of death, yogis attain freedom, and also the path wherein there is rebirth. 24. Fire, light, daytime, the bright half of the lunar month, the 6 months of the northern course of the sun, pursuing this path at the time of departure, the knowers of God go to God. So first let's understand these 2 shlokas before we move on to the rest. So here in shloka 23, Krishna has said that there are 2 paths. One goes to liberation, that is the path of the light, and that is the path of Devayana. And the other is the path of darkness. It goes to rebirth, and that is Pitrayana. So just like, so we'll also understand what is Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. So what is he saying here? So at the time of departure, now 4 or 5 things are mentioned here in 24. There is fire, light, the bright half of the lunar month, and the northern course of the sun. Now, if we speak in simple metaphorical terms, when we talk of light, day, we are talking of clarity, we are talking of purity, we are talking of, divine qualities. So firstly, on the very outset, at the level of, moral behavior, we have to be living in the light on a daily basis. So we must check our behavior. Are we living in the light or are we favoring darkness? And each night before we sleep, we must analyze all our behavior throughout the day, which is the first verse of the Gita, which says you must introspect. Are you living in the light or are you living in the darkness? Because your daily life will determine that at the time of death, whether you are going towards the light or whether you're going away from the light. And also it is important to understand that the bright half of the lunar month, it's called the Shukla Paksh, and the northern course of the sun. Here again, although it appears to be telling us about solar movement and about lunar movement, but actually it is about the movement of energy and consciousness within our own self, within our astral bodies. And when the master is talking about how the kundalini, so when he talks about fire, he's actually talking about the kundalini power. And we know that the practice of Kriya Yoga has the power of, by magnetizing the spiritual eye, it has the power of awakening the Kundalini and raising up the Kundalini. So when the Kundalini is rising up through the positive poles of all the 6 chakras, then that is the upper movement, the northern course of the sun, rather than just a cosmic time or a cosmic phenomenon. And Master even has said that any movement or any moment in which you are moving towards God is an auspicious moment. So you cannot say that when in the cosmic scale of time the sun is going downwards or southward, then that is not a good time to die. Because so many people think that only the Uttarayan, so something that begins during Makar Sankranti. Every year on 14th January, we celebrate the festival of Makar Sankranti, and it is said that from that point begins the northern course of the sun. So does that mean that people who die in the last 6 months of the year, they are going to hell? No. So again, 2 things here. One is the movement that is being talked about is the movement of the inner energy and consciousness through the inner astral spine. And secondly, it is that no moment is inauspicious when, while thinking of light, while thinking of God, you are departing from the body. Now, again, you can depart from the body by thinking of the Lord only when you have spent every day of your life thinking of the Lord. So again, are we living in the light in the day right now? Now, other metaphysical meanings in this is, what is the day for the yogi? And in a previous shloka, Krishna has said that what is the day for the yogi is night for the rest of the people, and what is the day for the rest of the people is night for the yogi. And so what does this mean? So the day of the yogi is when he is aware of his oneness with the universe. That means in the samadhi state. So not only Savikalpa Samadhi state, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So advanced yogis who touch the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, who even while doing all actions in this world are aware of their cosmic connection. They are aware that they are actually Brahman, only performing this temporary role for a short period of time. They are always aware of this truth in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And this being in that Samadhi state is day for the yogi. And rest of all the worldly affairs, so when you are living through limited consciousness of a person and you are unaware of your continuity with the universe, or oneness with the universe, that is night time for the yogi. And most people think that that is the only life there is, because they have never tasted the real day. The real day is when the sun within shines. The Kutastha shines, the sun. That is why I think of Lord Rama and his dynasty. Why are they called Suryavanshi? Is because Ram is here inside. Because he is awakened. Because Ram is an avatar. He represents cosmic consciousness living in a body. And interestingly, we know that the clan of Krishna is called Chandravanshi. And a very different thing can be brought out here is that at the medulla, where we see the ego, when this ego is brought and connected to the Agya Chakra and brought here when the ego is transcended and the soul shines forth. So that is why Krishna, it means the same thing actually. It means the awakening of the Kutastha, it means realization, it means enlightenment, but it has been differently projected as Suryavanshi and Chandravanshi. And these are not just somebody, the author felt like calling Rama Suryavanshi, the author felt like calling Krishna Chandravanshi. No, not at all. It's not a surname. It's because the sun of cosmic consciousness, the sun of the Kutastha, shines in them. And it is because the ego has been transcended and the moon is completely reflecting. It's like a full moon reflecting the complete light of the sun. And that is what it means. And for us also, then this means that we can also become like them. Because the inner sun is very much there. The inner zodiac is very much there. Each human being has been given an inner cosmos and has been given the willpower to operate it, has been given the free choice to choose liberation versus bondage. And every moment we are choosing whether we are going on the path of Devayana or we are going Pitrayana, means whether we are going towards liberation or we are going towards bondage. Every moment we are writing that in our destiny. Every time we make a Godward choice, we are choosing the light. Every time we are tempted to stay in this, material world, being, drawn towards it, working only through the senses, forgetting our real nature as infinity, we are going towards darkness. And darkness has its own power, don't forget. If sun is drawing you towards it, darkness has its own power. The satanic force will draw you towards it. It will make sure that you start thinking, oh, why should I meditate? And, I'm having a comfortable life. What is there in meditation? Why should I stop the activities that I'm doing? It's because you will be stopped from, tasting the real who you are, the real you, the Atmic self, the blissful self. Only then the game will continue. If the character suppose you've gone to watch a play, and suddenly the character on the stage says, oh, I'm not this person that I am playing. I'm just going backstage and I'm going to become who I really am. Then the play will stop immediately. And then the fun will also go. So there is a purpose for Maya. There is a purpose for us being hypnotized into believing that we are these little beings. But yet, the knowledge, the wisdom, the intelligence is there within us. Lord is sitting inside our own heart, guiding our own movements so that we find over a period of, incarnations, we come to this discovery that, oh, wow, I am the light itself. I am the child of God itself. So enjoy the journey as you are, learning your lessons, but don't forget your real goal and don't forget the path. Don't get so engrossed with the world and start thinking of it as the only reality. Just as Narada, he just looking at that girl, he just forgot who he really was. This is how tempting Maya is. But that is why the Guru stands on the other side and says, no, 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 no. Come this side. This is the side of the light. Do your practice. Do your sadhana. This world is nothing but an illusion. It's a passing movie. Don't take it to be real. Stop your involvement in it. Withdraw your energy from it. Focus your attention on the Lord within. So here on the one side, the Guru comes as the savior to take you through the right direction, to give you the keys to the heaven. But again, we have to use those keys regularly, sincerely, with love, with ananya bhakti, not thinking of anything else but the Lord. Because again, here we are being selfish. So don't think we are not being, selfish here when we think of liberation. Yes, we are. But this is selfish in a good sense. We want liberation because it is our birthright. We are free and our bliss is our nature, and we have to and we must go towards it. And we as children of God, we can demand of it, but also we have to put in self-effort to attain it. Okay. So now we come to shloka number 25 and 26. One more thing that master has mentioned here. So for the person who is an advanced yogi, so what is the actual method through which they exit towards light or towards cosmic consciousness? So he has explained that once a yogi is able to focus his entire kundalini energy, bring it up at the spiritual eye and go through that spiritual eye, then the astral universe unfolds, and then the energy and consciousness have to then go through the astral spines, which is the Sushumna, the Vajra, and the Chitra, and then transcending the astral spiritual eye, it has to then go through the causal spine, which is the Brahmanadi, and then from the Brahmanadi it can ascend and the soul can then be set free. So again, this appears to be a very, very difficult process, yet if you practice your techniques that have been given to you, you will find that these can be done. If the Guru has promised that by practicing Kriya Yoga, You can attain liberation in this life. You can become a Jivan Mukta in this life. And he says as early as 3 years, and of course, as we said, 3, 6, 12, and so on. So if it is the Guru's promise, then it has to be fulfilled. Believe and have faith in the potentiality of the power of Kriya Yoga to take you to liberation. Never doubt. And why should we not doubt? So suppose we have not tasted enlightenment and liberation yet, but think of your life before you were a Kriya Yogi. How much difference this practice has made to you, how much calmer you are, how much more peaceful you are, how much more blissful and balanced person you are, how you have come to love people around you. You can forgive people easily. You don't judge people as much. You feel better in yourself. You are more connected to the Lord now. So from being a non-Kriya Yogi to a Kriya Yogi, there's so much of a big leap. And if such a big leap can happen by just a few years of practice of Kriya Yoga, then of course the promise of the scripture and the master will be fulfilled if we were to sincerely practice this technique continuously till the end of life. That's what master has said, that you have to be loyal to God, to the Guru, to your own effort of attaining enlightenment till the last breath. So keep at it. Don't lose heart. Don't lose faith. Just keep walking, and the grass will keep getting greener every step of the way. Okay. Also, I have read Master's teaching. Somewhere Master says that it is easier to find God in this lifetime than it is to become a multi-billionaire. How much effort? Now think of it, if you want to become a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, and how much effort would go into it? You will have to have the appropriate education, the appropriate infrastructure, the number of people around you, the mental effort that will go into it, the challenges that will come, the taxations that will come, or the stock markets that will come into play, the worldwide distribution that will come into play. All of this is too much. It's too complex a process. And master is saying it is easier to become a Jivan Mukta in this life, to find God in this life, if you put your heart and mind on it completely, than it is to become a multi-billionaire. And I've heard Ramakrishna mission monks also say that, Master Ramakrishna would say that it is easier. One of the monks of their order, he was saying that the amount of effort that you put in giving high-end exams, high-end academic intellectual exams, there's so many people who pass all these exams, and he also said that it is easier to find God than to pass be fully successful in high intensity intellectual exams. So it takes a lot of focus in passing high-end exams. And if you put that focus, so what is the problem with us is we are able to put in our focus, but it is going in the direction of the world. Now that has its own importance. You will not tell a person preparing for the AIMS or the IIT or you're going to Harvard or MIT that no, don't study, all this will not work. You will not pull the rug under his feet. But for a person who has already achieved this, and if he has the knowledge that all he has to do is take the laser beam of his attention from the world to seeking the infinite. You have already the power within you. You have a focused attention. Now shift the attention from seeking more and more from the world, but go to the infinite. Search for the truth within you, and you will be able to accomplish it. So even though all of this process sounds very complex, it cannot be so because it has been promised by the scriptures. But it is not complex for us. But now think of a person who is maybe still involved with all the dark activities, who's a murderer, who's a rapist, or who's involved in all blackmailing and looting and cheating and all of those activities. For him, it is going to be difficult. It is going to take many incarnations. First, his tamasic activity has to be converted into rajasic activity. Rajas has to be subdued by sattva. And only once you are pure, that is why there is the yamas and the niyamas and all of these have been given. Unless your mind is pure, you will not even want to think of God. So the very fact that you are thinking of God, the fact that you are a Kriya Yogi, the fact that you're a disciple of a great Sadguru, then automatically this means that whatever now has been mentioned in the scripture is not so difficult for you. So know that it is possible to become a Jivan Mukta in this life, and knowing that, put in that effort and you will be able to cross the ocean. Okay, so now let's read shlokas number 25 and 26. धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्णा षण्मासा दक्षिणायनम् तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिर्योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते. 26. शुक्ल कृष्णे गति ह्योते जगता शाश्वते मते एकया यात्यनावृत्ति मन्यया वर्तते पुनः. 25 in Hindi. धुआं, रात्रि, कृष्ण पक्ष, दक्षिणायन के 6 मास जो इस मार्ग पर चलता है केवल चंद्र के प्रकाश को पाकर पुनः पृथ्वी पर आ जाता है. 26. जगत से प्रस्थान करने के ये 2 मार्ग शाश्वत माने जाते हैं. प्रकाश का मार्ग मुक्ति देता है, अंधकार का मार्ग पुनर्जन्म. Smoke, nighttime, the dark half of the lunar month, the 6 months of the southern course of the sun. He who follows this path obtains only the lunar light and then returns to earth. 26. These 2 paths for exiting from the world are reckoned eternal. The way of light leads to release. The way of darkness leads to rebirth. So again, if we speak in the moral terms or metaphysical terms, when we talk of smoke, we talk of darkness, we talk of southern course of the sun. So we are talking of tamas, and to some extent, we are talking of rajas. So all the negative qualities of whether it is physical sloth, mental sloth, and whether it is cheating or murder and all of those things, all those dark things, they come as their tamasic qualities, and people living in tamas are bound to naturally come into that cycle of rebirths again and again. Not only tamasic people, again, even if you're rajasic and you have that temperament of activity, unless you subdue that activity with the power of sattva, of purity, you will not ascend towards the light. Now, what happens most of the time nowadays, it is said that Earth is a rajasic planet. Now, people are so involved in their active money-making process, and because they think it is the be-all and end-all of their existence. All of the corporates that are working, and most people that are working there, are of this philosophy that this rat race is the ultimate lifestyle that they must follow, and this is the only way to live, and this is the way they are going to find happiness. But understand that even that is the way of darkness, because the more and more desires that you have, the more and more restless mind you have, the more it is going to take you towards darkness, in the sense rebirth. You will not touch the sun of existence, consciousness, bliss inside you. You will keep being born over and over and over again. So yes, working hard and working for money does give you some sense of satisfaction, and that is why that path of rebirth is the path of the moon, because the moon does not have the light of its own. It is reflected light of the sun. So the little pleasures that you do get out of this worldly life, they are only a fraction of what bliss lies for you when you go towards the path of the sun. So all of these negative activities, even restless activities, eventually we have to purify our heart and mind, so that our own heart and mind becomes the mirror in which spirit or God is reflected. So we have to understand these 2 paths. If we keep doing the wrong things over and over again, and then we want good results, it's not going to happen. It's a very interesting thing about people, about all of us. We don't want to do good karma, but we want the results of good karma. We want to do bad karma, but we don't want the results of bad karma. Now, this is not going to happen. And there is a simple mathematics, we have studied this earlier, that only good action, good karma will give you punya, and the result of punya is sukha or happiness. And bad karma is going to give you papa, and the result of papa is dukkha. Now, this mathematics cannot be reversed. Whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not, it is not going to be changed. So we might as well go towards, first let us leave away bad actions because they lead to dukkha directly. Let's stick to good actions, and then also good actions have to be changed to divinely ordained actions, or actions which are in attunement towards liberation, attunement with the Guru, attunement with the teachings of God and his saints. And only then we will be changing our path from darkness towards light. Now, most of us are going towards that path of rebirth over and over and over again. The fact that we are here on earth, that means we are still on that path. But now in this lifetime, we have this moment and this lifetime to take a different path. We can change our route. We can go towards the sun. We can practice Kriya Yoga. We can do good activity. We can do Jnana Yoga. We can do our meditations. We can love others. We can love God with all our heart and mind. If we choose the right things, automatically our course will change and we'll come to the brighter side. We will come to the bright side of the lunar month. These are all symbolic things, but we know that all of this has a deeper metaphysics. And again, if we are not consciously taking our energy, the kundalini, up towards the spiritual eye and transcending or going towards the spiritual eye, it is going to descend back. And then it is said that this through the medulla, people who are still living in the egos and have not understood their soul natures, at the time when they leave their bodies, they exit from the medulla, and then they are just lying in those waters of lith, as they say, and after that they will go into an astral universe according to their frequency, and they will be born back again on earth. But those who will be able to exit through the spiritual eye, and Krishna has clearly said this in a verse previously, that in point between the eyebrows, you must focus all your energy and your attention at the time when you are leaving this body. With the love of your heart, chanting or merging in Om, you should focus your attention at the point between the eyebrows. So again, this is not going to happen automatically when it's time for us to leave the body. Practice, 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 practice. There is no shortcut. The shortcut is God's grace, yes. But to attain God's grace, you have to come in attunement. You have to still do the various things so that you are fully ready to receive the grace of God. Prepare yourself, prepare your way. The goal is shining in front of us, but we are so engrossed that, oh, my little life, oh, my little family, my little job, my money, my dress, my party, and so on. We are just busy with all these things. And when you think of the cosmic time and cosmic arrangement, these things are so petty. And we have been circulating through millions and millions of years. So many times we have been projected like this in little bodies. For how long are we going to stay like this in the prison of the body? When we have now started to understand that at least our nature is of infinity. Why should we make this compromise? Why should we be belittled? We are children of the divine. We must roar infinity. We must live infinity. We must live in terms of eternity. And because that is our true nature. And only once we start to think in that direction, that we'll put in the self-effort to go towards that direction. Okay. Master says, when the person's consciousness is unawakened and he is still attached to delusive material activities, he is said to leave the body in night time. Moving through the dark side or the outflowing energy, he enters the astral body. He remains in the astral world for a karmically predetermined time. Then his physical desires and karma cause him to take rebirth again. Even the accomplished yogi, Master says, even for him, if he has attained the stage of Sabhikalpa Samadhi, but his karma is still unfinished, he will also have to descend from that stage, finish the karma off, which can be done quickly by the practice of Kriya Yoga. As the master said that you can burn the seeds, they can be roasted in the fire of wisdom and in the fire of that energy, and then you can be free in the given frame of time that master has suggested us. So this brings us to the last two shlokas, which are very short, and we'll short and sweet, and let's see what Krishna says to us here. This is a pretty long, and we will not follow the normal way of pronouncing them. 27. Nete Shriti Parth Jananya Yogi Muhiti Kaschan Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna. 28. Vedeshu Yaggeshu Tapasu Chaiva Daneshu Yat Punya Phalam Pradishtam Atyeti Tat Sarvamidam Viditva Yogi Param Sthanamupeti Chadyam. 27. इन दोनों मार्गों के तत्व को जानने वाला कोई भी योगी कभी भ्रमित नहीं होता है। इसलिए हे अर्जुन, सदा सर्वदा स्वयं को योग में दृढ़ता से स्थित रखो। 28. इन दोनों मार्गों के तत्व का वेत्ता शास्त्रों के अध्ययन, यज्ञ, तप या दान से में निहित पुण्य से अधिक पुण्य फल प्राप्त करता है। ऐसा योगी अपने परम स्रोत को प्राप्त करता है। No yogi who understands these two paths is ever deluded into following the way of darkness. Therefore, O Arjuna, at all times maintain thyself firmly in yoga. He who knows the truth about the two paths gains merit far beyond any implicit in the study of the scriptures, or in sacrifices, or in penances, or in gift giving. That yogi reaches his supreme origin. And this is the last verse. So I'll just take a few minutes on this. Very important things have been mentioned here. So firstly, Krishna is saying, if you know these two paths, you will not be deluded. So unless you are aware that there will be two paths for you to follow, and then you have the free choice to choose, you are just moving like an automaton. The whole machinery of the cosmos is functioning in a way that you are led at a particular pace towards a particular direction. But as soon as you realize that, oh, actually there are two paths and I can choose. And just by changing the way I act, the way I speak, the way I think, and change my inner self and raise my consciousness through practice of meditation, I can choose to go on the path of light rather than the automatic way in which I am thrown into darkness. So once we understand that we have a choice, then we also have a responsibility. Choose wisely, live every day in the light, practice Kriya Yoga every day, attune yourself more and more with the Guru, because the Guru's grace will carry you towards the realm of God. Do this every day, and not only every day, every now, every moment you can offer it to God. Whether you do it, fully or not, whether you may think that my offering is not so complete, it's not so full, but at least you are connecting to God. At least you are trying to say, God, I love you and I give my life to you. Even saying that is sufficient. With however much intensity you can do that, keep doing that moment on moment. And then Krishna says to Arjuna, at all times maintain thyself in yoga. So what do you mean by maintaining thyself in yoga? That doesn't mean that you're going to be sitting in a meditative pose all the time. That yoga is the state of union. So Krishna is saying, understand your oneness with the true nature. Understand the true nature of the soul and then live your life. Once you have Brahma Gyan with you, once you know that you are infinite nature, but then you can still continue to play the role of this life and play your part in this life. So be like that one who is always in yoga sthiti, who is always understanding his true soul nature, who is his infinite nature, and yet then he is working through his body. Be like that yogi. Then finally he says, he who knows the truth gains merit beyond the study of the scriptures or sacrifice or penance or gift giving. So we may think that, oh, we have heard the Gita, so we have gained a lot of merit. Yes, it is true to an extent. But if you want liberation, that you don't have to just speak the Gita, or you don't have to just listen to the Gita. You have to do what the Gita tells you to do. Krishna has given you step-by-step instruction. This book is a manual to each one's life. The Guru has given you step-by-step teaching, step-by-step technique. You have to do it now. Now think of it in this way, that if you are hungry, can reading about food quench your hunger? Will it solve the problem? No. Listening about food? No. Knowing the recipe of food? No. Thinking about the variety of food, or thinking about the amount of money that is required to bring you food, or thinking about how lavishly you will have food one day if you are sitting in a great place, is any of this going to quench your hunger? No. It is only when you prepare your food and eat it that your hunger, the problem will be solved. Similarly, the problem of bondage will be solved only when you yourself, having gained the teachings of the scripture and the Guru, you will work on them, you will make them your own, put in your heart and mind into it, then eat it, in the sense practice, and you will attain to that peace which is promised by the scripture. You will attain to that liberation, to enlightenment first and then to liberation, as has been promised. It is all available to us. All we have to do is, instead of reaching out to the world, let's reach out to God. And instead, it's not only reaching out, actually, let's reach in to God. Let's go within. God is already here. He is already with us. So with this, chapter ends, and we will read the final statement as we do when we end a chapter. Om Tat Sat. In the Upanishad of the Holy Bhagavad Gita, the discourse of Lord Krishna to Arjuna, which is the scripture of yoga and the science of God realization, this is the 8th chapter, called Union with the Absolute Spirit. Let us share the power of these teachings with souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, beloved Lord Krishna, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Om. 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 Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, great Gurus, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all true hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.